They said Tunde was calm until he wasn't. He had everything to live for: a family, a thriving business, and a reputation built on discipline and trust. But all it took was one moment, one outburst, and his whole life went up in flames. This is not a story about rage, it's about regret and the lesson that some flames don't burn houses, they burn hearts. Hi everyone, I'm Remilekun Idowu and welcome to our storytelling channel where real stories and real lessons meet reflection, redemption and hope. To my returning family, you already know how we do it here and thank you for showing up week after week. And to my new viewers, welcome and you're in the right place. Before we dive in, don't forget to check the playlist above your screen to catch the powerful stories you may have missed. Also remember to subscribe, like, share and comment because today's story will remind you why silence, not anger, is sometimes the loudest strength. Let's dive in. Anger doesn't start overnight. It begins as sparks, small, almost invincible, often mistaken for confidence or strong will. For Tunde Adeyemi, those sparks started early. As a little boy growing up in Ibadan, Tunde was brilliant, always first in class, sharp with numbers, and bold enough to speak his mind. But he had a temper. If he lost a game of football, he would kick the ball into his neighbor's compound and storm home. If a classmate teased him, he would shove them hard and tear their notebooks. And his parents, they laughed it off. That's how boys are, his father would say proudly. He just doesn't like nonsense, his mother would add, smiling. When teachers complained about his outburst, his mother defended him. Someone must have provoked him. Tunde is a good boy.
That's how boys are.
He won't take rubbish. No one saw it as a warning sign. They saw it as confidence, boldness, leadership. But what they didn't realize was a child who grows up thinking anger is strength becomes an adult who confuses rage with respect. And by the time you notice the fire, it's already spreading. Fast forward 25 years. Tunde, now 38, was the picture of success. Founder and CEO of Adept Logistics, a middle-sized Lagos delivery company. From one borrowed truck, he had built a fleet of 15. Clients loved his drive and staff admired his vision. He dressed in crisped white shirts, clean shoes, and confidence that filled every room. But under that smile, the same boy who kicked football in anger was still there. Only now his anger wore suits and carried authority. Once a driver made a mistake, Tunde shouted and almost hit him, which made the man quit. Another time, his secretary misplaced the file. He was so angry that he slammed the table so hard the glass cracked. Each time such happened, he would apologize later. I'm sorry, I was just angry. You know I don't mean it. But apologies don't erase fear. Soon, office grew quiet, not out of respect, but out of tension. Every meeting felt like walking on eggshells. At home, his wife, Ife, a calm nurse, noticed too. Tunde, you're shouting more these days, she would say softly. I'm just stressed, he would reply. But stress doesn't create anger. It only exposes it. Anger had always been there, tolerated since childhood, rewarded as strength, and now silently destroying everything he had built. Then came the day that changed everything. A major client delayed payment, nearly 80 million naira owed. Tunde had salaries to pay, trucks to maintain, and bills piling up. He called, texted, emailed, but there was no response. One hot Monday morning, he drove straight to their Lekki office without an appointment. He burst into their boardroom mid-meeting.
Please, calm down.
"You think I'm a fool?" he shouted, veins bulging. "You're trying to cheat me." And before anyone could understand what was going on, Tunde slapped one of the staff members who was trying to calm him down. Security rushed in and everyone watched in horror how Tunde was escorted out like a criminal. By the next morning, his contract with the client was terminated, which meant half of his company's income gone down the drain. Investors who heard about the incident withdrew their funding. 2 senior staff members also resigned that same week. That night, Ife, his wife, tried to hold his hand. "We can rebuild this," she whispered. "You don't understand my frustrations and what I carry on my head," he yelled at her. Ife tried to speak, but Tunde would not give her a chance, and Tunde transferred his aggression towards her. So she walked out quietly, tears in her eyes. It was the first night she didn't sleep beside him. The weeks that followed were a storm. The client sued for assault, bills were piling up, the company's bank account were frozen, the office landlord sent an eviction notice. Tunde's staff dwindled from 25 to 5. The man everyone once admired was now avoided like a ticking bomb. Tunde became a shadow of himself. He was no longer eating, sleeping, and avoided going home. Ife was worried and called a very close friend of his, Emeka, to help check up on him. One evening, Tunde was sitting alone in the dark office. Emeka walked in, and Tunde was surprised to see him. Then, Emeka had a heart-to-heart conversation with him, but also a very blunt one. Emeka told him he needed to start controlling his emotions as he had allowed anger destroy him, and he needed to seek help for his anger issues. Those words hit like a punch. He looked at Emeka and around his once very active office. Then he knew his friend was right and he needed help. He whispered to himself, "How did I get here?" After that conversation that night, he drove to Takwa Bay Beach. The ocean roared, waves crashing against the shore. He screamed, years of frustration, ego, and pain pouring out at once. And then, for the first time since childhood, he cried, not out of defeat, but out of release. The next morning, Tunde walked into a therapist's office. He sat there, hands shaking, and said, "I think I've been angry all my life." For the first time, he traced it back. The playground fights, the slammed doors, the boys will be boys excuses. He realized something painful but freeing. Anger wasn't my strength, it was my fear. Fear of being disrespected, fear of being small. It began the long journey of healing, therapy, reflection, prayer, humility. He called his wife and said, "I'm sorry, this time I mean it." He called his former staff. He owned his mistakes, not as excuses, but as lessons. 2 years later, Tunde ran a smaller consulting firm, just 5 employees. He made less money, but had more peace. Every Monday morning, he would remind his team, "We don't raise our voices here, we raise our standards." And whenever someone got angry, he would smile and say, "Walk away, don't do what I did." Tunde's story is a reflection of many homes today. Parents, teachers, mentors, pay attention to the early signs of anger in your children. Don't excuse it with, "That's how he is." Correct it, guide it, help them find calm early before anger becomes their identity. Because what parents tolerate as temper in a child often becomes tragedy in an adult. Anger doesn't just destroy relationships, it destroys destinies. So the next time you're tempted to explode, pause, ask yourself, is this moment worth everything I could lose? Because sometimes the fire we think protects us is the same one burning our own house down. If the story touched you, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe, like, comment, share. I am Remilekun Idowu. Stay wise, stay strong, and I'll see you next week Friday with another powerful story. Bye.